Hi everyone and welcome to Veterans In Crisis podcast. Today we're lucky enough to have the new Mayor of Sunderland, Councillor Harry Trueman. Hi Harry, all right?
I'm fine, thanks, yeah.
Do I in this interview, do I call you Mr. Mayor or do I call you Harry or what do I call you?
Just call us Harry.
All right, well that's what I like. That's what I like, Harry. So congratulations on becoming Mayor.
Oh, thank you very much.
I think it's a really good appointment. We've known each other, or I've known you since I started working with Veterans in Sunderland, and you've always been very supportive to me. So, that's been really appreciated, to be honest.
Yeah. No, I mean, it was an honour when we signed the Armed Forces Covenants, if you remember.
Yeah.
Paul Watson and I went I think it was in Dykeland Road, to be honest, when the first one was signed, and I'll be honest, I think it's pretty much to it and try to enhance it and work with it. I think sadly some other parts of the North East haven't, been as good at it for whatever reasons. But and I think we've had a review of it actually, to boost it up again because it's so important to the people of Sunderland.
It is.
The association we have with them is so important.
It is. It's a massive thing, and like the Sunderland Partnership, Armed Forces Partnership. Now we've just received gold, so the university's got gold, council's got gold, CCG's got gold, Gen 2's got gold. It's remarkable, isn't it?
It absolutely, and you don't just get gold by sitting on your hands. You've got to be active. And as the mayor, it's one of the roles which is very important that, the mayor is, when he's invited, attends these, these events, whether it be, just a flag raising for the merchant seamen or it's the full blown Armistice Sunday.
Yeah, and I think the people of Sunderland appreciate when the mayor turns up at things. I mean, Sunderland's got a massive history of supporting the armed forces. I mean, yourself, we've got like the biggest outside of London for Poppy Day Parade. And it was a shame last year because of COVID and everything. Hopefully it's going to be nice and big this year. We've had a few meetings about it, and hopefully it's going to head as normal, like.
Oh yes, I believe it is. Yeah, we certainly, and I've made it known that it's going ahead. And to be honest, because of the lockdown, I think we'll have the biggest turnout we've ever seen. And we are famous for being the biggest parade outside of London, biggest gathering of people. But I honestly, from what I've seen up to the events that are being done, like, the walk behind the memorial, which I attended for the next phase, the turnout there was tremendous. And I'm seeing that at events like that. And I just think, the Memorial Sunday will be absolutely crammed. I think it'll be absolutely fantastic and good that we remember, all of the people who actually suffered and died. And I've got first-hand experience through my son, Jed. He was in the Coldstream Guards.
Yeah.
Went to Northern Ireland a number of times, and sadly, he decided to come out when he went to Bosnia, when he finished his tour in Bosnia, which was absolutely dreadful. But thankfully, we have our son still with us. Many families do not have their loved ones, and that's what we need to remember and respect.
It is, and I'm proud as anything of the people of Sunderland that attend all these things, because it's quite easy for people just to think, I'll just not bother. It's just Sunday morning, being out Saturday, I'll just not bother with doing it. But I'm like I say, proud and happy every time I see more and more people turning up.
Yeah, you're right. And as I say, I love the parades and the affiliation with the armed forces. As you're aware, I was the one that came to see when we needed a new affiliation with the Royal Navy. And I thought we were going to get a warship, a frigate or something like that. And he said, "I'm sorry, all of the frigates that's in the pipeline to be built have already been taken by other cities. Would you like a submarine?" I thought, well, yeah, why not? It's the affiliation with the crew the serving, lads and lasses, more important than the fact what the HMS Hanson is. But so I was delighted. Mine, I had a bit of stick trying to put it through the council. I don't think people believe that. A submarine? Yeah, we'll get the submarine. What's wrong with that? But that's all settled and signed, and she's busy being commissioned, I believe. So that's great.
Well, it's funny you should say, because the submarines actually contacted us and asked to play a football game against us.
Oh, great.
But our veterans are not as fit as they could be. And me being Army and them being Navy, I want to win. So I'm trying to get like an Army team together. So I went through the partnership and spoke, and like I want to win. We're not just turning up.
Well, of course, yeah.
So hopefully that's going to happen on Remembrance Week.
Yeah. You need a good referee.
Do you fancy it, like?
On your side. It's probably on your side.
I'll have to get someone from Sunderland definitely to do it.
Yeah.
So, what's your plans for your year ahead?
Well, I mean, obviously, I did a 2-year stint with the deputy mayor because of the COVID, and sadly, David and Diane had to cancel their end of year ball, which would have brought in funds. So, apart from represent the city, which I've probably done for nearly 26 years, or I'm in my 26th year now, it's an honour to be the mayor and be called the first citizen of the city. And apart from all the lovely events that you go to, sadly I've had to do 4 to 5 funerals of past colleagues, and we lost Len Gibson, our veteran, and so that was rather sad. But the other important thing I think is to raise funds for my 2 charities, which very local charities, and it's absolutely amazing. The people that's coming out of the woodwork and offering us prizes and events and turning up to the events that we're putting on. The people of Sunderland are absolutely amazing. Yeah. And, getting back to what I said about the Armistice Day, I really feel that people want to be out now and they want to remember and respect. They want to go to events. Yes, they want to be safe. And sadly, we've lost an amazing amount of people who have died through it. But people of Sunderland, man, they're so resilient, and they're so kind and so generous. The generosity that I've had so far for events been absolutely tremendous, absolutely tremendous.
Do you want to tell everyone who your 2 charities are?
Yes, one of them is Hugging a Bag now. Hugging a Bag operates out of Houghton, and sadly, the story is that Mum went into hospital for cancer treatment. And while she was in there, she met another mother who was having the same treatment. And even though the treatment was absolutely amazing, great, the family around them, lots of friends, they just felt they could do something else for people suffering cancer. So they set up a charity called Hugging a Bag. And they designed a lovely bag, and in it, they fill it with nice little quality gifts like a cushion to go under your arm when you've had the breast removed, or head scarves, if you lose your hair through the treatment. Sadly, Mum died of cancer, and Dad and daughter, husband and daughter, obviously had to take time out to grieve and remember and pull themselves together, but they've resurrected the charity and it's now back up and running. So we took them on board. The other one, and we only decided on 2 very local ones, obviously, not knowing what money was around and how much we could raise. Dorothy came across this one while she was getting her hair done, and it's the Special Lionesses. And this is 2 mums who have severely disabled children who could die at any time. That they'll never have a prom. They'll never graduate. They kind of join in with the siblings when they take them out for the swimming baths. And honestly, to meet the siblings, the care that the siblings have got for their brother and sister. So they decided to start to put events on, and I believe Grace House at Southwick have given them an office free to operate out of. They've been getting events at certain community centres, you know, to bring other mums and dads together who haven't got severely disabled children, but nevertheless, they have disabled children. But more importantly, they make sure the siblings of those children are at the event as well, because it is a family thing. So, you know, I believe I've chosen two very, very local charities. And really, you know yourself how it is so difficult to raise funds, you know, for what you're doing, which is a bigger spectrum, you know, than what I'm attempting to do. But they haven't got the wherefore and the you know, the knowledge and the working experience to bid for the big charity, you know, like lottery and stuff like that. So really, you know, I'm looking and working, you know, like crazy to get them as much as I can, and I'll be delighted and looking forward to the end of my term when we can get them together and I can present them with a nice fat check each, you know, which will go a long way to help them.
It'd be brilliant. And I think what I like, me personally, I think putting in money into that just stays in Sunderland. That's the way it should be. That's the way I set VICS up. And you know, I find the bigger charities where you put money against to pay for officers and other things that, you know, and if you're a man in the street, a woman in the street, and you come along and you end up giving 20 quid, you expect that 20 quid to go and help someone, not 18 quid gone on wages, you know. You're
right. You're perfectly right. And, you know, that's where we see some of the big charities fail. I mean, a great charity that got involved with Len Gibson was Daft as a Brush.
Aye, I know them.
You know, the cancer ambulances that they run, you know, and Byrne, you know, he's an absolute star. And it was great working with them, and he put a cracking event on the evening down at the memorial in Sunderland to remember and honour, you know, Len. But the sad thing is, and you're well aware, you can be a veteran at 19-year-old, 18-year-old, you know. You could be injured, badly injured, and have to come out of the forces. And the veterans, well, as you're aware, the North East has the largest number of veterans probably in the country, because we're a great breeding force for bloody good soldiers, you know, both men and women, and the dedication they've got to the forces. And I think that's reciprocated with the dedication of the people of Sunderland in their respect for the serving people, will give more respect for the veterans as well.
Well, we just say you're a veteran if you've had 1 day's pay. So, you know, you get that when you sign on. So in the 70s and 80s, the IRA was shooting people who had just signed on, you know, recruiting officers. So to me, that's what I thought was, you know, if you've actually signed to do a job, I think that's you're part of it, and you should be respected as that.
Well, you know, I've lived certainly not through the Second World War. I mean, I'm glad I missed it, but we've never learned. We've never learned. You know, the wars that are going on now, Afghanistan is the latest one, and leaders and politicians, when are we going to learn? When are we going to learn that we're destroying lives, we're destroying communities, we're destroying historic buildings, we're destroying our history, and we never learn. We've never learned. Greedy people wanting to rule people with an iron rod. I respect all religions and I respect all ways of life, and you know, it's their right to have that. But to kill each other over it, that's extreme, and it's dreadful.
It's a thing that I'm not sure if it's maturity on my part or this job that I've been doing, but I'm very now anti-war, and I can't think of basically. There's just no point in it. You know, it always seems like young working class blokes or women take the brunt of it, and they didn't get out for it when they come back. You know, I see people that are absolutely broken, you know, and they get nothing, and it's really sad to see. And if it wasn't for, and I'm not just saying that way that only people do it, but if it wasn't for people like us, you know, you'd have all these young men and women coming back to nothing.
Yeah. I mean, I go back to when I was the cabinet member and I had the first refugees coming in, you know, asylum seekers, and I was the cabinet member. And one thing that struck me when they arrived, can you imagine having to pack a bag with the belongings that you treasure, if you can get them in the bag to carry them, and leave that home in that country forever with, no prospect of going back. Yeah, I just kind of, you go away for a fortnight's holiday, and to be honest, by the time 10 days comes, I'm wanting to be home, like I'm starting to wind down for the aircraft to come back to Britain. But to be leaving a country, probably never, ever to go back, and probably leaving family, it's just absolutely, well, I just cannot imagine it. Well, they tell you how they feel, but I never understood it, to be honest. And getting back to what was just said there, why haven't we learned? Why aren't we learning about, war and death? And we're ruining, we can be prosperous right across the world if it wasn't for war.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for wars.
I think it's because it's not people like me and you at the top, Harry. That's what the problem is.
Well, I often think of certain prime ministers who, yes, they took on a role of being involved with the battle, but why should a politician, be able to command a force to go to war? They're a politician. They're not. They're not an army. If a general, was to decide there's other ways to solve this conflict, but they get an order from the top dog in the country. No, go and bomb them. Go and go to war. Go and fight them. Bring them to the knees. I never understand that part of the job, and I'm pleased I haven't got that responsibility.
Me too, mate. Me too. Do you know your charities? If you send a link or get Mandy to send a link over, when we put this out, we'll run it along the bottom so people know how they can get involved and stuff like that. And we'll promote as much as we can. And VICS will have a table at your mayor's ball. Yeah.
I mean, honestly, some of the gifts we've getting, are just outstanding. And when we're putting a raffle on, you can see the quality of the stuff that we're being given, and people are so generous. The difficult thing is, is people are not carrying cash. When you get the raffle ticket out. And I had a little bit of a chuckle. I held me mayor's service in the local church in Usworth, a great service, but of course, without being busy, when we booked it, it was a bank holiday weekend. So we didn't get a lot of people there. But I was in Shiny Row Choir for 18 years, and 9 of them turned up and filled the choir stalls. They were absolutely amazing. And what they said was, when we get back to practicing, we'll do whatever you want for you. But the vicar announced, when you leave, we have a collection plate on the right. We are going to share. The mayor's graciously agreed that whatever we take in the collection, we'll half between the church and his charities. And on the right-hand side, we have a little machine where you can use your debit card. So they had a debit card machine set up in the church. And I thought, that's progress, isn't it?
I think that's the way forward for everybody now, I think. Yeah. Because nobody has cash, nobody ever.
They don't. And it's difficult when you've got to book the raffle tickets and, I've money. Well, we haven't got a machine where we can. Well, I mean, we get round it. They're so honest and gracious. They pay later.
Right, Harry, thank you very much for coming on. Will you and your lady wife come over and visit the RV sometime?
Of course we will. You just arrange it with Mandy and we'd be delighted to be there.
Excellent.
Delighted, thank you very much.
Well, thanks for coming on, and I'll speak to you soon. Have a good day.
Now.
Have a good day, mate. Bye.